Welcome back to Completing Football Manager 2024. And we have already completed Hong Kong. We've already completed India. Both of them in 2 seasons. Got plenty of trophies along the way. 3 in each nation. But that's not what we're here about today. We're here about our next nation, which is Indonesia. As former champions Persib Bandung have offered us a job as their new manager. We'll start negotiations. We'll accept whatever they're offering. 12 months seems like a great thing to do. And we are off to our third nation. Persib welcomes us as we take charge of our third club. And with any luck, we will only be here for 1 season. They are a good side. They are expected and predicted to finish first if we have a look at the season preview. In fact, no, it's down to third. Okay. The media prediction did say first when I applied for the job, and now it says third. Maybe because the season ticked over to the next one. But if we have a look at how the season has panned out from last time around, we look in, we'll look at the whole save essentially. So what happens in Indonesia is the league plays for 34 games, and then you get the top 4 going into a championship round. So Persib have finished second, fourth, and been champions. Second there, fourth and been champions, second and been champions, and then last season had a poor run and finished 7th, whilst Persija won the title after finishing second. Borneo having a really good run in the league, not quite good enough in the cup portion of the championship portion of the league. But we shall see how we get on with this time around. Persib are our new home in Bandung in Indonesia. We will see how we get on. Hopefully just a single season. This is the squad we've got. We've got a really good midfield. Charles, defensive midfielder, Brazilian, 33, looks like our best player. Then we've got Dusan Stefanovic, a Serbian defender. Again, as you notice, lots of imports coming in as the best players. But then look, we've got a 16-year-old Indonesian midfielder as well. Ignore the new gen face. That's from my other save game that we've added on. He's 16, homegrown, and looks pretty darn good. Already up there with the best players. We've got some good players otherwise going forward as well. Armian, and then Harry, 32-year-olds, all Indonesian, and some good young players as well. Rivaldo, Nurjaman here, Indonesian striker. He might be leading our line. But I think what we're going to play is 4 at the back, 3 with 2 defensive midfielders in midfield, wingers and a striker. So a 4-2-1-2-1. 4-3-3 basically, and we'll see how we get on. It's not going to be long until the start of the Indonesian season, literally 20 days until we kick off. So we'll stick a few friendlies in and then get straight into the 34 game season, the longest one we've had so far. There's also the Cup competition which we'll be playing in. I think the AFC Cup has already finished, so don't worry about that, but we have got the Indonesian Cup, and then obviously we mentioned in the league the top 4 go into a playoff for the title. But we're going to go through the very brief pre-season and get to the first game of the year, have a look if we made any signings over that 2-3 week period, and kick off game number 1. It was indeed a brief pre-season, 20 days, but I mean we did still do some transfers, so that's okay. It feels like it's literally been 10 minutes since I recorded the last part of this video. It's gone very quickly, but we are ready to kick off the season here in Indonesia. But before that, let's have a look at some transfers. We'll also have a look at our best players as well, because we've essentially brought in 4 free transfers at the very beginning of the transfer window, on the 12th, and then literally 2 weeks later, we are kicking off. So we've sent out someone on loan, and someone's gone on a free, just who was already on his way out the door as we got there. So these 4 new signings aren't headline signings, they're just some squad players to fill out the depth of the side. But we're going to properly look now. This is Charles. We mentioned him briefly a second ago. He is our star player. He is going to be in the centre of our midfield. He will be alongside Prasetya, our 16-year-old new gen, who looks very good. I mean, if we do a quick comparison between the two, there's not much between them apart from 17 years. So, and one's Indonesian, one's Brazilian, but that's beside the point. They look quite good. Well, Prasetya looks very good. Charles obviously looks like the star player he is, and there's a difference in the value as well because of that youth. We've mentioned Stefanovic. He wants to leave us, though. He's exploring his options and handed in his transfer notice. He wants to leave on his £70,000 release clause. We'll see if anyone comes in for him. They've all come in at about 25 so far, so we've just ignored them. We've got a few other good players going forward. So Armian on Ilham Armain. whatever. He's 32 Indonesian, 9 international caps. He's on the left side. And then Haryadi is on the right side of our wings. We'll show the formation in a second. And then we've got Rivaldo up top. Not the Brazilian one, the Indonesian one, clearly. I don't think he's got any Brazilian blood in him. No, he doesn't, but he's there as our lead striker. And then, as we mentioned, we've got another guy in midfield as well. Another new gen, Panjaitan. I'm going to struggle with names, definitely. We do look a little bit weaker at the back, but we've got that solid base here, basically. This double pivot, I suppose it's... Is it double pivot? I'm not particularly technically sound. And a really good central defender. So I say not as strong at the back, but basically these 4 guys here aren't as good as these 3. Or these 3. So there we go. We'll play it by ear. This is the tactic we're playing with. It's going to be another counter-attacking one. Probably flick between balanced and positive depending on the opposition. We're at home. We might flick to positive for the first game of the season. I'm not really sure who's good and who's not. I think I need to actually change his. Yeah, we'll put him as a poacher. Sorry, Rivaldo, you're a poacher. I set you as a wrong role. I do apologise. And he's struggling for fitness because he's just coming back from injury, but he will be okay. That's fine. I'm looking forward to seeing what these pair do from the centre of midfield. Basically, I think we should have a really good shot of winning the league. If we look at the season preview again, now we finally get to the beginning of the season. We are predicted to finish second in the league. We just need to be in the top 4, remember. It's not the league position that gets the title. It's the winner of the championship round that gets the title, which is different to India. Obviously, the league and the Federation Cup, which was the playoffs, were separate competitions. That's why we didn't win it in season 1, because we didn't win the league. We just won the cup. Now, the playoff is part of the league and determines the league champions. So that is what we have to go by. Looking at the Dream 11, 4 of the players are from us. That puts us in good stead. Borneo won the title last year, won the league phase last year, sorry. Persija won the title last year. They will both be good, although we beat Borneo 6-3 in a friendly at the beginning. So that should hopefully suggest that we are good to go. Right, we're going to play through the first half of the season once again. That's 17 games, so that should take us to, what, that's 11, 50, somewhere in October, probably around about the time we joined the cup competition. This season's a little bit different. It starts in June, ends in April, and then has the playoffs round for the top 4 teams. So it's going to be a little bit earlier in the season that we rejoin, but we'll play through half the campaign. Let's see how we get on, and hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, it'll be a big spoiler if this video is about 15 minutes long rather than 30 as to whether we've done it in 1 season or 2, because each season is kind of taking around about 15 minutes in a video, but this could be a red herring. We could do it in 7 seasons instead of 1. The playoff is a bit of a lottery, I'm sure. Right, that's our side. That's the bit of a season preview. We've made some transfers. A few people here, well, two or three players on trial that we're getting rid of because we don't want them anymore. But that's the situation we're in. We're in Indonesia. Please like and subscribe. Obviously, forgot to say that earlier, I think. But like and subscribe to this video. No, like the video, subscribe. I'll play some matches. See you in a sec. We're halfway there. Look at the league table after 17 games. Persib, top of the tables. 36 points, 2 points clear of our closest challengers. There are essentially 7 teams still in it for the playoff, well, the championship round. Sorry, not the playoffs. The championship. Top 4 go through to the championships. The winner of those championships gets the league title, and that's what we need to win. It doesn't matter about the regular season. We mentioned that earlier. Does not matter. It's all about who wins the playoffs. And interesting to note, the other club at the beginning, before we joined Persib, who had no manager, are Burrito Patera, and they were predicted to finish 11th. And if we just look at this, they were up at the top of the table, and then they've fallen off a little bit. The league has been a little bit of, if we look at the top 7 teams, for example, a bit hit. We started slow, but we've come on really strong. Everyone else started high or fast or the opposite of slow, and then tailed off a little bit. So we're going to have a look through how we've gone through the season and how the slow start actually looked. But we've really come into our own. We've been at the top for the last 6 or 7 games now. But the league looks quite, touch wood, fingers crossed, in control. We need to just get into the top 4. It doesn't really matter about who finishes where in that top 4, but that is what our aim is. And it looks like of the clubs you'd expect up there, they're the ones you'd see. So Borneo won the league last year but didn't win the championship. That was Persija, who were down in 6th. Persib have won the last 2 before that, so we're first. That's good. So you're kind of thinking these are the best teams in the league. The rest, the other 11, are kind of out of it already. But as I mentioned, slow start. So we drew 0-0, then 0-0. Then we got 3 goals against Persic, but drew 3-3. Obviously not 0-0. That wouldn't make sense. So 3 draws in the opening 3 games. Then we got a comfortable-ish. I say comfortable. We got a 91st minute penalty from Rivaldo to get our first victory of the season, 2-1 at home. Then we lost. So it's going well. 1 victory in 5 games. Since then, though, we've not really looked back. 2 draws. 3 draws, because we got against Persija there as well. But we had a great run through August into September. Drew with Borneo, who we smashed in a pre-season friendly. Obviously, they won the league last year, won the league phase last year. So they're a really strong side, but 2-2 there. And a couple of draws in October as well, as we kind of get towards the halfway mark. And then in the Indonesian Piala, the Cup, we've just won against non-league opposition. And has the cup drawn happened yet? I don't think it has. No. So we can't see who we're going to face in any of the next rounds. But hopefully we get some slightly weaker competition. If we look here, quite a few League 1 sides, Liga 1 sides have been knocked out. So opens up nicely for a potential double, which it doesn't really matter if we win this. We just need to win this. That's fine. Having a look over the squad, who has been doing the business for us. The top couple here are, well, they've not played all the many games. This guy, in fact, we'll cover this guy first. He's just come through in our youth intake, which bizarrely happens really close to the beginning of the season in Indonesia. So he's just turned 16, made his debut, scored, got an assist, got injured. So that's not great. And he's out for another 3 months. So that's literally not the best of starts. But he's come in, done really well, and then gone out again with 3 months injury. That was obviously in the Cup. He's not made a league appearance yet. But first game in the Cup, goal, assist, 8.2 rating, injured, out for 3 months. Fantastic start to his career. If we look through who's actually been our best player, unsurprisingly, it's Rivaldo, because, I mean, he's called Rivaldo. 11 goals in 17 league appearances, average rating in the quarter, that's 7.22. So he's doing pretty good. Obviously, he's now 20. He's come through our youth ranks as well. In fact, if we just let's clear the squad and get rid of the under 20, the under 18s and whatnot out of here. Sugeng Effendi has done okay when he's made appearances. He's done really good, but he's not basically in the first team just yet. If we scoot down to someone who is Johan Panjaitan. Again, we're at the point now in 2028 where a lot of the younger players are new gens. So a lot of the better players in the sides, particularly in the lower leagues, are going to be new gens. And by the time we get to the bigger leads in the game, obviously they'll all be new gens as well. Haaland will probably still be around at 40, but it might take us a while to get to a league where Haaland plays in. He's done really well for us as well, as has this guy as well, our goalkeeper, Fitrul Dwi Rustapa. Not the best on paper, but he's playing pretty well. We have got our eyes on another goalkeeper as well, but obviously we've not made any transfers yet because I don't think the transfer window's open. I'm not really sure when, but there's a... in fact, let's have a look at our scouting whilst we are talking about it because I will forget otherwise. If we clear this... No, that's not clearing it. That's clearing it there. If I can find him again. This guy, this Algerian... on a free transfer. Looks better on paper, and we could do with just shoring up in goal a little bit if we do the comparison. There's not too much between them, but he does look, obviously, a bit more eccentric, but better shot stopper, and I think that is going to be something we might need going forward, having the option at least for a different goalkeeper. But generally speaking, it's been pretty good. Charles has taken a few injuries. He's only played 8 games so far. So he's not really put in the performance you should expect. Just under a 7 for his average rating. And his midfield partner, Prasetya, was also at a similar level, just under 7 after his 16 games. They are still our best 2 players. Dusan Stefanovic, I think he still wants to leave. But yeah, he's been doing okay. Again, bit of an injury, so he's been kept out of the side a little bit. Did we do any more transfers at the beginning of the season? Yes, we did, actually. And Asnawi Mangkualam has come back to Indonesia. He's been in the Thai league, I believe. So yeah, South Korea and then Thailand. He's come back to Indonesia with us on a free transfer. He looks pretty handy as a right back. Sorry, so he's dropped into our first team. Has made 14 league appearances so far. And Areva Adi Utama, again another veteran. He's the left back. He's joined as well on a free transfer. You think he was at Borneo last season, so won the league with them last season, but not the championship. That's kind of the situation we're in though. As we get into the second half of the season, you can see here, pretty strong, looking quite comfortable at the top. I think comfortable in terms of top 4. Obviously, we said there's 7 clubs who have still got a chance of getting into those 4 places, but I think out of those 7 clubs, we have definitely got the better opportunity to do so. We've only lost 1 game so far this season, which was against Persipura, who are third. We've got second place Arema next in a few days. So obviously after that game, that could open up a nice big gap at the top. If we win that one, it could put them 5 points behind us. But plenty of time still to go in the season. Obviously, 34-game season, the longest season we've done. So we're back when we've done those and see how we get on in the Cup as well. I'm not sure when the Cup finishes, if it's before or after the league. Let's quickly look through and click the right button. Not there, that's for sure. Gone far too far. April the 28th. When is the last league game? League finishes. So it probably, I'm going to suspect, the league finishes, then it's the cup final, then it's the championship round. So hopefully, when we come back, it'll be May and not the end of April, and we'll be in the championship and winning the Indonesian title, and then we'll be off to our next nation. Just wanted to point out as well, someone mentioned in the comments of the Hong Kong video about bringing Singapore back into the game as a playable league. So I've done that just to see if that allows us to start managing there again. Obviously, there was that issue with Singapore that we highlighted at the beginning of a couple of videos ago. So I've added them back in. They'll start playable again from January. So if jobs become available, I'll mention that at the end of, hopefully, fingers crossed, winning the Indonesian leagues, because we've got Singapore and Malaysia left in this first batch of nations, and then we're off to Europe with some of the nations you can see on screen. Right, we'll be back with the second half of season number 1 in Indonesia, where hopefully we can win the Indonesian title. Season is done, and have we managed to win the league in one season in Indonesia? Well, we shall find out. If we go to the BRR, that's just spoiled it a little bit there, hasn't it? We won! We won the final, absolute dominant performance, but we'll have a look at the league table first, because that is the main league phase of the season, and we were absolutely incredible in the second half of the season. Obviously, we showed this earlier, and aside from a small blip the next game after we were here, a few seconds ago, when we drew with Arema, who were then second, I think. So they were second before the game, but the draw there put Persipura up top as they won their fixture and jumped us both. But since then, not looking back, we've just been dominant across the board. And if you look at the league table once again, that's the season preview. We want stages there. That's the final. We want the league table. That's the one we want to look at, because we only lost 3 games, so 2 more than the one we lost previously. So we lost to Borneo, who have been a right thorn in our side this season. We've played them that many times. It's been incredible. To think we started out our time here at Persib with a friendly against them. I think we've played them 6 or something ridiculous amount of times this season. We'd lost and drew with them in the league phase, so they were one of the better teams. Obviously, they managed to finish 4th as well, so we then faced them in the championship round. We also faced them in the Indonesian Cup as well. But we ended up pretty much dominating the league phase and winning that by 12 points. 9 draws, 3 losses. Basically, we managed to draw games where others were losing, and that just racked up loads of points. 63 goals scored, nowhere near the most. Borneo got 73. They put 8 past Persiraja in 2 games. I don't think we did that. The highest we got was 6 against the club. And then 31 conceded, which was the lowest, just. So we got a really good goal difference, really strong, most points in the history of the club in a league season. Obviously, I say in a history of the club, it's in that history there over 6 seasons. So we won the league phase, which then took us to the championship semi-finals, which were very, very tough. In fact, we might as well go through to competitions here. Not the competitions, to schedule. That's just shown you've won the league as well. I'm not very good at this, hiding things, am I? If we go to here and just look at league matches themselves. There we go. We go through to the first semi-final leg in the championship semis. We drew 1-1. We took an early lead, but Borneo equalised late in the day. And it was a very tight game. We were slightly better, but we were at home, so that's kind of to be expected against an evenly matched side. Then we faced them. Bearing in mind, we lost to them once, drew with them twice in the season going through this. We again took an early lead, but they equalised just after an hour. And it took until the 86th minute for Presaccio, not Presaccia, a young striker, came off the bench, scored with 4 minutes left, put us into the final. Bearing in mind this was after the cup final as well, which we'll cover in a second. You've already seen we won that, we did the double. Did it count as 3 titles if we won the league phase? No, it doesn't. We won the league phase and the championship and then the cups. It's 2. It's a double. It's a double, not a triple. Treble, rather. So that put us through into the final. Bearing in mind, in the league phase, Persipura were our second place team, so they were nearest challengers. But in the first leg at home, we absolutely smacked them 4-0. I mentioned earlier Hassan Eka getting a goal in his debut in the cup. He's been basically a bit part player, coming on off the bench quite often. He's developing really nicely, actually. He got the fourth goal. It's not really the winning goal when we won 4-0. Rivaldo got 1 and Panjaitan got 2. We mentioned him at the halfway stage of the season as well because he'd been playing really well. So every kind of player you'd expect to get involved got involved. We won 4-0, which kind of set up a little bit of a disappointingly easy second leg in the final, which we again won 2-0. Charles and Panjaitan once again getting on the score sheet. A really comfortable, actually, after the difficult challenge of the semi-finals, the final ended up being an absolute breeze, and we won it 6-0 on aggregate, which is ridiculous. But it was enough, obviously, to take the title, because that's all that mattered. Then the cup run, which is a bit strange in Indonesia, because a lot of the first couple of rounds happen, and then there's a big break during December where loads of matches happen in the cup. So January and December, the league takes a bit of a break, the cup takes the focus. And as you can see, we got through against lower league opposition relatively straightforward. The first round is obviously just a single match, and then all the other rounds are 2-legged. We only didn't win one of the legs up until the semi-final, winning that one there 7-1 in the quarter-final. These are against League 3 opposition. Yeah, League 3 opposition. Then we faced Persija, again, top flight team this time around, and that was a tough one. It was a 1-1 in the first leg, the away leg, at Jakarta International Stadium. We got a late-ish equaliser. Pretty struggling. We struggled a lot in this game. 2 shots was all we managed. Possession, we had loads of the ball. We just did nothing with it. Couldn't get through their defence. They'd obviously scored in the first half and then held on and pretty much dominant. And then we took the victory. And then in the second leg, it was 0-0. And we ended up winning on away goals. And this was a pretty poor match, honestly, the second leg of the semi-final. But over the 2 legs, we were not the better side. And we struggled to get through, but we did. And our reward was facing Borneo again. So we drew with them in the first leg at home, which was the one we should have won, really. But again, if you look here, we played pretty poorly and we're not value for that draw. They very much deserved the victory. But again, decent possession, kept us in the game. We just didn't do anything with it when we had the ball. But ultimately, we managed to get the level going into the second leg. And then the second leg, in that final, Tursunov scored in the 93rd minute. Now, this time round, we were obviously a much better side. We were dominant in this one, and we were deserving of a victory. But we got into stoppage time, and I very much thought, this is it. We're going to go to extra time here. And not even going to extra time, actually, because Borneo would have won on away goals. And that header there at the back post basically gave us the trophy, because it was the last minute of the game. And they just headed in, came over everyone. We watched it twice. It's not another game, it's just the same header. It rose above everyone, got the header that we richly deserved in that game to basically not lose on away goals. I'm pretty sure the final goes to away goals as well, otherwise what's the point of having 2 legs? That was the tension going into that one, and then if we put the full fixture list on, you can kind of see how that fits against the league championship phase as well. No, I don't want the under-21s, just get rid of the filter. So yeah, they happened after the last game of the season, which incidentally, the last game of the season was moved because we ended up playing 34 games and everyone else played 33, because our final game of the season should have happened here on the same day as the cup final. Bit of an odd one, but obviously the league phase doesn't matter, it just determines the championship stage, so that's fine. But we went through, we faced Borneo 4 times in a row, which was pretty tough, honestly. They were definitely the most difficult opposition we had in the whole season here, but they ended up finishing 4th and not winning the championship, because we won the championship 6-0 in the final. So Perciv get 3 titles in 4 seasons. I get 3 titles in 5 seasons. Well, 5 in total, yeah, so it's the last 4 have won 3 titles. So same as Perciv, basically, but across 3 nations. So that's good. We've won everything. We've won the league, we've won the cup, we've done the double. We've basically completed Indonesia, which is the task of this video. So well done me. Looking at the star players, I think the one to bring out here is Rivaldo. He got 18 goals in the end. Probably was expecting him to get more, but as we got into the second half of the season, I kind of started using Hasan Eka a lot more. So he took some of the appearances off him, and therefore some of the goals as well. He probably would have got 20 goals if I had started him in a few more games, but that is what it is. Essentially, none of the foreign players really doing too much to trouble our best player. So that's good for Indonesian football. Not that I'm going to stay here, obviously, but that's good that we're not relying on foreign players to come in. Eka also managed to get his first 2 caps for Indonesia at just 16 years of age. So I'm taking credit for that, even though I've just been here a season and he came through literally as part of the youth intake at the beginning of the season. So that's my doing, clearly. Yeah, in terms of other good players, Panjaitan we mentioned at the halfway point. He got some really key goals as well in the championship rounds. He has done really well throughout the whole season. But star player, I think, Rivaldo, closely followed by him. And then I mentioned getting a new goalkeeper in, which we did. We brought in Farid Chal, but he was a bit poor, to be honest. And he was no better than the goalkeepers we'd already got. And we kind of ended up just playing him a few times and then not bringing him in. It was a bit of a waste of a transfer, to be honest. But there you go. He made 2 league starts, 4 in the cup, and he wasn't that great. So we just dropped him again for Rastapa, who came through. Ultimately, I don't know why I bothered trying to replace him. Honestly, he was fine. And he did well, and he's managed to lead us to a double. So that's that. Indonesia's done. Basically. One season. Excellent. Done. Churchill Brothers have sacked their manager. If I was going back to India at any point, easy decision to go back there. They've still got Kareem Sam. If we quickly look at how they did after I left, they finished 4th. So that's that. They won with me. They went back down to 4th after I left. Well done them. Speaking of clubs I left, if we quickly go to Hong Kong as well, we'll notice that, in fact here, job history, Resources Capital have been stinking up the joint since I left. If we look at the league table, so I left here. This is the time no, that's not the season I won, is it? No, that's the season I won. There we go. Won that one. Undefeated. Invincible season. And then they finished 6th. Quickly followed by 7th. And then this season, 8th. So, well done them. Not good enough, I guess. I did also mention in the halfway point that I brought in the not Indonesian, we're in Indonesia, the Singapore. Was it Singapore? It was Singapore, wasn't it? The league just hasn't worked. The bringing them back in as a playable league has not worked. If we go back in here and see all the major clubs, if we go to LC Sailors, to be honest, who have won, they've not got a manager. If we look at their staff, got no staff. I can't apply for the job though. I can't. It's still broken, so it didn't work. So we're going to try and get a job in Malaysia next, because, well, it's the only nation we've got left. The Super League, Liga Super Malaysia is underway. The only job available at the moment is this side, Sabah, who have won 1 game all season. They're not very good, so I'm probably going to wait and see if I can get a club who are a little bit better off. Obviously, Johor would be the easiest route to winning the Malaysian title, but that would take them sacking their manager and getting me in instead, which is probably not happening. But they have won the last 14 or 15 league titles in Malaysia, so, you know, probably the favourites. But if I can get a good side up here and start challenging them for the title. That will be the aim. So we're off to Malaysia next. That's the single season sensational Persib in Indonesia. We've won the title, we've won the championship, we've won the cup, we've done everything needed. We've qualified for the AFC Champions League, even though I'm not going to be here, but congrats to them. Hopefully they do well. But we'll be off to Malaysia next. I'm going to now quit my job, and yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next nation. Thanks for watching.